Hi everyone, this is Jeremy. Welcome to our show. We are very glad to invite teacher Joseph. He is an English teacher from our language center. Hi Joseph, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay.
It's a little hot today.
Yes, it is. Okay, and my first question is, we learned that you're from South Africa. And would you please introduce South Africa a little bit?
Yes, I'm very happy to introduce my country. South Africa is typically referred to as the Rainbow Nation. So anyone who visits South Africa or who visits any of the tourist offices of South Africa, they will see on the front of several brochures and advertisements this slogan, South Africa, welcome to the Rainbow Nation. I think this is to impart the idea that South Africa is firstly a country with different races, different religions, different cultures, basically people from different kinds of orientations. Secondly, it's also to impart the idea that different kinds of people in South Africa are willing to come together, to work together, and to live together. So yes, it's still going to take some time before we can develop mutual understanding and mutual respect. But as South Africans, we are willing to work together and try to understand each other. South Africa has, I'm sure you've read this. South Africa has quite a high crime rate. It has several other challenges besides the crime. But what you will see happening over time is the crime rate steadily decreasing. It is decreasing. It might take a longer time for us to improve the situation in South Africa, but it will happen. It will happen because people are taking the necessary steps to work and live together. So I see my country as the Rainbow Nation.
Do you think it's safe to live or to travel in South Africa?
It depends. If you are traveling alone to South Africa, I certainly will not advise that. The reason being is that if you are a recent traveler to South Africa, you might not be familiar with the safe places, and you can't exactly rely on information in brochures and information on the internet totally to decide what is and what is not a safe place. It will be helpful to have a look at that information, but in some places that information might not be complete. So I would certainly not advise somebody to travel alone. Going as part of a tour group that is familiar with the country, that is familiar with the safe places in South Africa, that would certainly be much preferred. I think there are several places in South Africa that are safe, that are as safe as places in Taiwan. You just got to know where the safe places are. South Africa used to be in the 30s or 40s when it came to destinations that tourists wanted to travel to.
Yeah.
And now it's in the top 15 best places for tourists to visit. So it does say something about the steps that the government is taking to ensure the safety of tourists. They do advise tourists, look, don't travel alone, travel as part of a tour group. They are very concerned about that area, and they do take the necessary steps.
Okay. We learned that you are born in South Africa and you grew up in South Africa. And can you tell us about your major in both the university and graduate school?
At university, I had a double major, as most students in my university did at the time. So it wasn't really special of me to have a double major. Most of the students in my university who were studying Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Arts, and the other 4-year programs were often required to take a double major. And my double major, my majors were psychology and philosophy.
Philosophy.
Yes, and when I entered graduate school, I could choose which area, apart from being able to choose either entering philosophy or entering psychology, I could choose which areas of philosophy I wanted to focus on, or which areas of psychology I wanted to focus on. I decided to move in the direction of psychology. When I was deciding which area to go into, I had clinical psychology as an option. I had counseling psychology as an option, industrial psychology, industrial organizational psychology, and research academic psychology. Oh yes, there were 2 more. Educational psychology and sports psychology.
Sports psychology.
Sports psychology. And I decided to go into industrial organizational psychology. So when I joined the graduate school program, I moved in the direction of industrial organizational psychology.
Okay. Before you come to Taiwan, what was your previous occupation in South Africa?
Prior to coming to Taiwan, I was for a few months I was running my own service. I was involved in developing leadership programs for students to participate in, team building workshops, career counseling workshops, and I was running all of these workshops for students, and it was a private venture. It was something that I was doing by myself, but I did that for a few months. The reason I did that for a few months is because I got the job in Taiwan. Prior to those few months, I was working at a senior high school.
Senior high school.
I was basically teaching a variety of subjects. It was like working in a fruit salad. I was teaching math. I was teaching science. I was teaching English, but I primarily focused on social studies. And I'm sure you can understand why the school that I worked at during that time asked me to focus on social studies because of my major being psychology, industrial psychology. Yes. So for a few months I ran my own service. Prior to those few months, I was working at a senior high school, and I was instructing those subjects.
Okay. Why do you want to come to Taiwan, where is 8,000 miles away from South Africa? Have you ever encountered any culture shock here in Taiwan? Maybe the food, or the point of view, the weather, or politics, or something?
You know, let me track back a little to what you said earlier. You said, why do you want to come to Taiwan, which is which is
8,
thousands of miles away from South Africa? And this was the same question my mother asked me. We were sitting at the dinner table, and my mother asked me that same question. Why do you want to go to Taiwan, which is thousands of miles away, and which is so close to China? And knowing the political situation between China and Taiwan, we relied a lot on our geography and history textbooks for information on politics, which, by the way, was not really complete and didn't reflect the real situation in Taiwan. So she asked me that question, and it's the same question you began with. I was running my workshops, and I felt that it would be better to find a stable job